Hey everybody, catscamper.com here. Quick video about flat towing. So we just set up, we got this Jeep Unlimited, a little older model, to flat tow behind our RV. And so I'll show you real quick everything that we have to get it going. Some of it you can't really see. I've got it all installed. We'll start in the back. You have to have working brake lights when you're towing your vehicle. So you buy, and I'd recommend going to eTrailer.com, you buy a kit and you just pull the headlight off these two screws, and there's a little module that goes in there. You unplug your tail light, plug this module in between the two wires, and then fish it down. Do the same in this tail light. Unscrew these two, pull it out, plug it in, and then run the wire all the way up front on the vehicle. And then depending what kit you get, that wire comes out here. And then some of them you would run this to your camper, but mine's a little different. I'll get into that in a second. So that's your brake lights, turn signals. The next thing you need is a brake system. And I went with the Brake Buddy Stealth. And they have different models depending like whether you have air brakes or hydraulic brakes on the camper. This mounts underneath the driver's seat. You could put it underneath the passenger seat, but when my passenger seats go down, this is in the way. So I put it here, and this is the cable right here, and I ran it up, nice clean floor, behind the brake there. And you can see it comes up, goes through that pulley, and then attaches to the brake cable. So when it applies the brake, it pulls on that pulley and puts the brake on, and then when the brake comes off, you know, whatever. And then the wiring for that I ran through. And that comes up to this module, which is where the plug is that goes to the camper. Now the nice thing with the Brake Buddy Stealth is that it has a plug for your tail lights. So you have to run the brake system to the camper, and you have to run the tail lights to the camper, and instead of having some hodgepodge of wires, there's only one wire, and the Brake Buddy Stealth takes care of running your tail lights. The other thing is, let me open the Jeep hood for you. Sorry, I should have just done this to start with. You have to check your owner's manual. On the Jeep, you have to disconnect the battery, and you leave the key in the ignition in the on position. And this is a manual transmission, so that I should have talked about that. Everything's in neutral. But for the Brake Buddy to work, it has to have power. But another nice thing about the Brake Buddy Stealth is it charges the battery. So you know, when you're driving and your battery's running the lights and stuff, you're not going to drain your battery. I've seen that in the campground where people disconnected their car and the battery was dead. So with this one, you're actually going to trickle charge the battery as you head down the road. And the other thing this comes with, and I'll just do it from here, is there's a vacuum pump, and that's it right there. And that attaches to your brake booster, just splices right in. And so if you have vacuum brakes, which pretty much we all do, when your car is using its brakes, that vacuum pump will keep the vacuum pressure on, so it'll keep the brakes running with the vacuum pressure instead of just manual, and it's better for your brake system. So that's the brake system. It comes here. And then the next thing you need is, zoom back out here, is a tow bar. And I went with the Blue Ox tow bar system. And this one is a little bit bigger than what I need for the Jeep Wrangler. This is a 10,000 pound model, and they have a 6,500 pound model. The advantage of the 10,000 pound one, it has longer arms, so that's going to give you better maneuverability. You know, as you make a turn, your bumpers start to get close together on the side of the turn. So this gives you more space so you can make some tighter turns, which I need because I have to turn around a lot. With your tow bar, the blue ox came with the safety cables that attach just in case something would fail. You know, you'll still be hanging on with your safety cables. And then you need a base plate for the tow bar. So you need 4 things. You need the brake light system, the supplemental braking, and then you need a base plate. Well, this Jeep weighs about 4,500 pounds, and this camper can tow 5,000 pounds. So I didn't want to add any weight. So this is actually an aluminum bumper, and you can't do this with all bumpers, so do some research, but they do sell with this bumper. The Blue Ox, they sell all 3 different tow bar models, and this is mounted directly to the frame of the Jeep, so it makes it legal. And instead of adding 40 more pounds of weight for the base plate, I actually replaced the bumper. This is an aluminum bumper, and so it's kind of even Steven for the weight of the bumper, so I didn't add any weight, which gives us the ability to put a few things, like we might want to put kayaks or something on top of the Jeep, and of course that'll all add weight. So the one other thing with the Blue Ox that I liked is, so you have your cable here, and the way this one works for Breakaway is if for some reason the camper would break away, it'll pull this cable right out of the camper plug there, and then it'll instantly put on the brakes for the Jeep. The other thing I like about it, so your brake systems work in 2 modes. There's inertia brake systems, and there's ones that come on with the brake light, and there's some that work with both, and that's what this one does. And it actually comes with a controller in the cockpit. And so this controller, which will also work as a electric brake controller for a regular trailer, it allows you to adjust the sensitivity of the braking from right here. So a lot of them you have to get out, go adjust it on the car, drive it, you know, keep going back and forth. This one, with this button right here, I have 7 sensitivity settings, and I can just test it. And then there's a big test button. If I push it, it goes BB, and if I pulled that wire in the back, it would scream BA, and it would scream at me, so it would let me know I had a breakaway. So all I've done is take it around the block to test it, and it worked real well. We're going to go on a trip next week, a short trip, and that's kind of our shakedown to see how everything works. But there was a little bit of work to put all that stuff in, but it all worked out well, and we now have a vehicle to take with us camping. That's all I have to say about the flat tow. And the reason we picked the Jeep, a few reasons. We picked the 4-door Jeep because we have our 3 dogs, and this gives us space to take the dogs with us. And then I like the Jeep, and then I like the manual transmission, and I enjoy putting the top down. So that's the reason we picked this vehicle. It's a little heavy, but it's under the 5,000 pounds, and we can still put a few hundred pounds worth of cargo in the back or whatever to relieve a little bit of weight off of the camper. All right, so catchcamper.com. You guys, we'll see you at the campground.